All right, welcome to the third review of the evening. Up this time is Lifeless Moon. During an expedition to the moon, two astronauts find themselves in a familiar town back on Earth. They soon discover that the town is the beginning of a strange and mysterious journey. Lifeless Moon, the spiritual successor to the popular 2014 indie title Lifeless Planet, is a 3D platformer that puts you in the center of a mysterious moon expedition. This new adventure, inspired by classic science fiction, plays an Apollo era astronaut who finds themselves in the aftermath of a old 1970s experiment, an oddly familiar desert town on the moon. So this game was given to Golix for review. So over to him for the details.
So yeah, this is
I think the only thing that's
I
funny we're
guess
doing this day after the anniversary of the moon landing.
I guess it's kind of appropriate. You could this is like 80% walking simulator with a little bit of light first person adventure game, find the thing you can interact with, and very light puzzle solving that mostly serves to force you to go to specific locations in a specific order. Um, it's creepy at times, but I don't know if I would go call it full horror. I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that as a, walking simulator type game, that it's not all in first person, because I do not like all in first person games and have an even harder time following paths and stuff in those. It's still a little bit tricky sometimes finding stuff to interact with. And sometimes I don't always notice when something gets put in my inventory that I need to use, or on a rare occasion didn't notice that something was on the scene that I was looking at that I needed to actually interact with before I could put it in my inventory. It's the kind of game where most of the achievements are just progression, and then there are a couple for like wandering off the path and finding such and such an interesting thing. Like just enough to make you want to keep doing it instead of like going straight forward. The music is from atmospheric to a bit unnerving. Obviously you're pretty much alone up there, aside from apparently the other guy who's there with you is possibly also going through some similar stuff as you, but like time displaced. So you can only see him occasionally, and you do see some other people from the past. But whenever it is, they usually appear in a swirl of these green vine-looking things, and then say some things and then disappear because something happened and you're pretty unstuck from time. I did find it a little bit annoying sometimes when you have access to a lot of different places and you don't know which place has the actual solution, or when it does weird things like you have certain objects that you can do more with than just pick it up and put it back down where it was, because most of the time that's all you can do, or rarely add it to your inventory where it will be automatically used as a key for something. But yeah, it's interesting. It's not too awkward if you're better at solving not very clearly marked paths in 3D than I am. You'll probably find this much quicker and easier than I am. I did end up finding a video playthrough and skipping through that when I found some spots where I got stuck. This game isn't very long if you go through it correctly and don't get lost a lot, but I definitely got lost a lot. I've played for like an hour and a half, and I am at the point which is in the full game walkthrough I found less than half an hour in. So obviously your time may vary based on how well you do it freaking figuring out.
Now, is there like anything like if you go off the beaten path or like lore bits you can find, or is it just go along the path, solve the puzzles type thing?
Like I said, there's just enough to make me not try to avoid doing it. There was a rare specimen you could find in the first area. In the second area, there are apparently some cats around that I allegedly found, but I couldn't see them on my screen. That's the other thing. I guess I'm bad at looking where the game wants me to look. Because sometimes someone has appeared and started talking, and I couldn't figure out where they were until they were disappearing.
Oh, it's one of those where they spawn in a fixed place, but they don't lock your camera to them.
Yeah. And like I said, I found the cat, but I didn't see the cat on my screen when the achievement popped up. So according to the thing, there's more than one, so. There's no manual save that I could find, but it auto saves after most major accomplishments, or after any major accomplishment.
So if you have progress worth saving, it'll probably save it.
Yeah. Like when you actually unlock a new thing. Like, it didn't save when I turned on the generator to go up an elevator the first time I quit. It started me back at the beginning of that, like, chunk. But the chunks aren't super long. You find written logs. Sometimes they have voice acting to go with them or not. And you find so there's photos and stuff, and they get put in your notebook, so you can look at them. And occasionally they have answers to various puzzles, or hints rather for them, I guess. Not really answers. And yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot there. Most of the point here is visual spectacle, especially once you get to weirder stuff. I know you unlock a jetpack at some point, but I did not get that far because I got lost a lot.
Is there much story, or is it just, hey, there's a cool thing over here you can look at?
It's most like overall you're figuring out, I think, how it ended up that all of this. Well, first off, that you got from the moon to a town on the moon, and then to places that don't even look like they're on the moon at all.
Yeah, you were.
There's some stuff
you mentioned you were on a trip to the moon.
Yeah, that's where you start.
Yeah.
And there's definitely teleportation involved. This takes place approximately during the Cold War, so
possibly,
So there's a lot of wondering on behalf of this astronaut what was happening, apparently. I don't want to spoil too much of it, since I guess finding out some of the stuff that's going on is probably one of the main things you're getting out of this for gameplay.
Surprise, it's Project MK Ultra again.
If I had to criticize it, a lot of it is just walking back and forth to get access to, or to get items to get access to new areas in orders that don't necessarily seem to make sense. So you might need to keep relatively close tabs on the next goal.
Is there an active map system involved, or you just kind of have to know where you need to go?
There is no map, but the areas aren't that big, and there's not many points of interest.
Fair enough.
And in your notebook, there's also a itemized list of what you need to do next.
And that, like, everything's self-contained in that area, so you're not going back like old areas to try and get stuff or bring stuff from other areas into this one, other than like upgrades.
So when you first get to the town on the moon, the first thing that attracts your attention is going to be the diner. The diner door is locked. You have to instead progress until you notice like a cord or something, follow the cord to an underground thing that has stuff that you can't really do anything with, to find a key, to go back into the town, to go into a different building. Oh, no, wait, to go back into the... No, down there you lower the ladder on the water tower, where you go up the water tower to get a key to a different building, and then inside that building is a key to the diner, which has an interesting encounter in it, and you get a key there that you use to go back to the underground thing to unlock a big or to unlock a door that lets you input a code to open another door, where you get a key to start a generator that you have to go to another, that you go out of the underground and then follow the cord, and you can see like a lamp off in the distance, and you have to go to the lamp, and it goes to a hole in the ground that has the generator that opens a door to the next set chunk of the game.
But you don't have to like go back after you finish that chunk of the game. You don't have to go back to it for anything, right?
But once you finish that chunk of the game, you can't go back.
All right.
Unless you like leave and start from an earlier chapter. So there's a lot of going back and forth.
Yeah, just like in those chunks, you're not going different
but
chunks.
No, you're not required to like backtrack past a new actual chapter. The game is broken up into chapters and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. It's atmospheric. I got lost, but I don't hold that against it too much.
Yeah, that's more of a, us personal thing,
it's probably a me thing, yeah.
Because I'd probably have gotten lost too. I'm not that very good with keeping track of things.
You might notice that in one of the clips that's going on this thing, there's a thing where you go into a room and it has a red floating chair in it. Apparently, when you go into that room, you're supposed to keep looking at the red floating chair, and it does something or something. Whereas I was looking at the other stuff in the room before intending to interact with that, but instead it just happens automatically.
One of those things of static event points by not locking your camera to the event.
Yeah, kinda. So yeah, overall, I think it's pretty good, probably, but probably also not for everybody. What are they looking at price-wise, Adam?
Kind of on the pricey end of things at $12.99.
That's certainly on the higher end, unless you like really appreciate walking sims and stuff, because I mean, you can definitely spend a lot of time with it if you don't proceed directly to the next objective in the most efficient manner. But I also can't guarantee that that's like going to be the most enjoyable way to do it for you either. So I might check it out on sale more than at full price.
All right. So, anything else?
Unless you guys have any questions, I think I've said everything I can without like spoiling anything.
Right.
That's fine.
Insofar as I could, because God knows I didn't actually get the full story of anything. I left off trying to find a tool to open the door to a lake house that has boarded up doors, even though there's a back door that doesn't even seem to be locked. So yeah.
All right. Well, that'll about do it for Lifeless Moon here. Be sure to tune in at the break as we review Nick's Quest, Kindred Spirits.